Let's talk a little bit about IFE and where we're going with IFE in the new world. Doug?
I think what you're facing today is that we have some very fine companies that have been in the industry, dominating the industry for 15 years. They're fine companies, but they've not had the pressure to innovate. And now you see an opportunity with new kinds of technologies and products to come in innovatively with technologies, but also with new companies and organizations. And now the question is going to become, who's going to survive? My particular perspective is there's not an airline out there today that, while we want our passengers to have access through these guys, through our PEDs, I want it. I want to be able to SMS and so forth on the aircraft. There's not an airline from the lowest cost, meanest, low-cost carrier up to the most expansive of the amenity-focused airlines who would not want a separate, high-quality delivery video in front of every passenger if it just came at no cost of carriage, no cost of ownership, no cost of acquisition. And there is a continuum in between that suppliers like us need to be addressing to drive down the cost of ownership from what used to be absolutely horrendous and consuming all sorts of resources to maintain it, driving it down to become super reliable, lowest cost of purchase, lowest cost of maintenance, and most attractive. So if I can put an ad, I can't control what maybe the passenger does with their entertainment on their own device, and there's huge flexibility in these things. We live on them. But if I could put an ad up in front of them, if I could put a very high quality picture of food, if I could have a service or even content that they couldn't get some other way, then I would want to have that capability. The question will come down to, what's it going to cost me to have it there? So Lemexis, just from our own selfish standpoint, is addressing the upper end of that market. We've got a really broadband capability to expand into everything. And then the question becomes, what is the off-aircraft communication going to cost to feed the other devices and real-time content? So I think it's a big time. I think there's a lot of change going on.
Thanks, Doug. And Bob?
Yeah, I concur with Doug in terms of the industry being on the cusp of the next step up in capability in in-flight entertainment and connectivity. I think we're also in a situation where we have some strong, reliable suppliers who've built very strong positions through being strong and reliable. Nevertheless, with the new technologies coming on board at the moment, we see a huge interest from our customers in exploring these new technologies, but a great reticence on when it comes to trying to pick the winners, because we see maybe 5 or 6 companies out there with very attractive technologies. We don't think they'll all be around in 20 years' time. And the question, I think, for not just the OEMs but for the airlines as well, is which are those enduring technologies, particularly with their impact on the aircraft. One of our customers told us not so long ago that their annual maintenance costs for their in-flight entertainment were as much as one of their engines on the aircraft. We know that in the industry it's not unusual to see life cycle revenues for suppliers that are a multiple of 7 or 8 times the price of the equipment when it's sold. So it's very important for an airline to make the right decisions at the beginning, and also to look at how that IFE is embedded or not, or integrated into the aircraft, because the more deeply embedded these systems are, you then start to see economic barriers to change. I think on that score, it's probably the best to hand over to the airlines to comment on that.
Yeah, I would say from, I agree with Bob and Doug that there's just tons of partners out there with emerging technology, and I think from the airline perspective now is that we're looking for partners to deliver that technology the quickest way, and speed to market is important to us, right? So knowing how quickly we can get the product and content to our customers is also important. But the time after time, what we're hearing over and over again is just reliability. How can we continue to offer reliable products to our customers? And then from that point on, how do we customize those products for our customers? I mean, every customer coming onto our aircraft, they're looking for their own personalized, customized experience. And so what are ways that we can challenge ourselves to be able to deliver that the quickest way possible? So.
Alex, what are you doing in Air France?
As Doug said, I think it will be a very interesting time because airlines like Air France that did introduce IFE at the very beginning, now we will enter a phase where we have to think about about our future system, I would say second generation in the global. So we'll have, even if today we think more retrofits in terms of seats, new cabins, then in the very next years we'll have to think about retrofitting IFE maybe, and that would be
Be expensive.
huge.
Be expensive.